Hey, welcome back, guys. It's been a little while since I chit-chatted with y'all. Lost my camera a couple of days ago, and I had to get a new one, and been sick and all this other crap. But we're here today at Chuckwalla Valley, CVMA. Gonna do a track day today, see what the track's like before we actually go out and race it in February. So we're all set up. Got the bike going. Past tech, and I mean, there's not much to it for a track day. So yeah, we're just gonna test out the bike and get everything all set up and squared away right today, so that way we could set it up for February.
Alright, so in case you didn't realize, this footage was actually taken in January at the Trackdays, D-A-Z, session. They're kind of an organization that helps run CVMA, which is the racing org out here in Chuckwalla Valley. So this was my first real track day and my first time actually somewhat road racing, not really racing, but riding a sport bike on track, a very large track, as opposed to doing mini GP, which I've been doing for about 4 years prior to this. Racing mini bikes and mostly automatic stuff. So the shifting and everything was not necessarily new to me because I ride motorcycles, but doing it in a competitive-ish manner is a bit different. So because this was my first time here, I wanted to get a sense of the bike, how it handles pretty much with a stock suspension, stock exhaust, the S20 Evo tires which we installed. And ahead of me, this guy who just passed me here, he's an instructor for the Trackdays group. So I asked him, hey, can you show me a good race pace, good race line here at the track? He doesn't necessarily race himself, but it would have been a good resource for me to know and get acquainted with what it actually takes to get through this track at a very quick pace. So the thing about CVMA is there are a lot of 300cc riders. They're all going to ride differently, and he's just going to show me his own line and what he does to take his R3 on the track and see if I can mimic that. So we're going to start off here in clockwise session on this track and going into turn 1, 2, and 3. These were the hardest turns for me at first, simply because I wasn't used to going quick off on the straightaway, 90 plus miles an hour, into a hard right-hand turn. So he showed me a good line to take on this, and if you follow the cones actually show where the apexes are on this track, so it's a good suggestion to look at them and see where you should be at on the inside of the turns. So now we're coming up to turn 4 and 5, so this is a double left-hand turn. And turn 6 and 7, these are where I struggled the most. I constantly went out wide here for whatever reason. I couldn't really see the edge of the track, so I wasn't too sure where I should be on the inside of this turn. So just something I needed to work on. Now coming up to 8, 9, and 10. So 8 and 9 is a negative camber turn. So it's sort of off camber. It's a little scary for me because I've had really bad experiences with these kinds of turns in other tracks. And then coming into the back straightaway between 10 and 11. So sections 11 and 12, turns 11 and 12, this is a sort of a blind crest here, and it's really hard to see. So you have to trust going full speed as much as you can into turn 11 and then 12. Going downhill, and then coming into what's called the bowl section. This section you can go 90 plus miles an hour if you're brave enough into this turn, and it's banked really steep. So it's actually, if you walk up it, it's pretty hard to walk up onto. So passing the bowl, which is turn 13, into 14 and 15, this is almost a double left-hander. So just trying to cut in as close as I can, not doing a great job because again this was my first time on the track with the R3. Then we're coming down to 16 and 17. These are technically the last are the most important turns because it is the last turn before the straightaway. So come in as quickly as you can, close as you can, and go in as much with as much speed as you can, because the straightaway is where you're either going to get passed or pass someone else, hopefully. So now I give my own try here. Matt, the track day instructor, slows down a little bit so that way he can follow me and make sure that I'm actually following the line that he gave me and make a good pace. So overall, at the end of this day, I was making around 2 minutes and 23 seconds, maybe 22 seconds pace as my fastest going around the track. And that's not really super fast, but it's not too bad considering that I haven't been on this track before, and R3 is all stock, so we're just getting acquainted with it, trying to get as much out of it. I realized then that the stock suspension was really bad, so we're looking for upgrades in the future so that way we can turn in the bike better, have a little bit more grip into the turns, and just improve overall as a rider and improve the bike itself. So let's check out our second session, which we did this with Socal Trackdays on a different day, doing this track counterclockwise, trying to make a better pace, trying to get up to race pace and better acquaint with the bike.
Today's goals are actually going to be to try and make 2 15 lap times. That's going to be really hard to do. It's more than likely going to be around 220, but hopefully we can break that 220 lap time mark counterclockwise, and this will put me at a good position for race pace, at least in the back of the pack. If I could make back of the pack for race 1, then I should be able to pull myself up to mid-pack. So today is just going to be about making our lap times as small as possible and our lines as tight as possible, and still getting used to the bike and whatnot.
Now the thing about track days is that most track days have groups. There's a fast group, an intermediate group, and a slow group. So in track days, the previous session, I was in the slow group, just getting myself ready to take the bike out and try it out on the track. This track days organization, Socal Track Days, they don't actually do groups, they just do a full session. So you could go on and off the track as much as you want, and get off the track whenever you want, get back on the track whenever you want, as long as there isn't a red flag on the track. So I actually like this a lot better. They allow inside and outside passing within reason, so it made things a lot easier for me to get more acquainted with the bike, getting through people who may or may not be faster. There's a lot of 1000cc bikes, 600cc bikes, and even smaller bikes such as mine on the track. So a lot of different skill levels, different bike power differences on the track. So it really makes it a lot more challenging for me to quote-unquote pass people in a track day. Now, I'm not suggesting you should ride in a track day like you're racing, unless you're actually racing and you're practicing, because the point of the track day is to actually practice and have fun. So aside from that, I'm trying my best to get the best lap times that I can, and you can see the dash wear on the bottom. So this is my 10th lap on this session, and we're going to come into the straightaway very soon. So I've been following this guy for maybe 5 or 6 laps, trying to keep up with him. He's a 600cc rider, so it's really good for me to try and pass him, see what the bike can do, my bike can do, because he has a lot more horsepower than me. He can power out of turns, he can power through the straightaway, and I cannot. So I have to carry as much corner speed as I can going into each turn. So we're coming out of turn 1. This is the straightaway now. Again, this is counterclockwise at the Chuckwalla track. So I'm getting passed here by a fast rider, going into 17 and 16. So actually keeping into the turn this time, I was a lot more comfortable on the bike this time around. I changed out the fairings to the armor body fairings, so that's why the camera position is actually different. So now going into 14 and 15, or rather 15 and then 14. And then the bowl section, turn 13. So this is where I felt I can pick up the most speed versus a lot of people in this section. And you can see this guy passed me when I'm slowly gaining in on him, going up into the uphill over the crest. Again, this is blind, so I can't really see where I'm going. I have to trust my instincts and trust that I remembered how the track looks every time that I pass it. And this is the back straightaway. Now going into turn 10. Again, another turn that I felt really confident in. I'm downshifting here after going 100 miles an hour into this turn, braking as hard as I can, shifting into 4th, and then coming into turn 9 and 8 with the off-camber turn. And then here's a slight downhill here, going into turn 7 and 6. I struggled a lot with this, but after following the guys, I was able to figure out where the apex is, where I should be, and you can actually see that I'm actually pulling into the 600 rider over here. So I'm following him right behind him, and I've caught up to him just by going through the turns a lot faster than he is. So now turns 5 and 4, trying to pass him, but just keeping up. You know, you want to be safe. This is not a race again. Just keep a safe distance, pass safely. So a short straightaway here, going into turns 3, 2, and 1. So you can pretty much full throttle this on a 300 all the way through up to this turn, coming out into turns 2 and 1 into the straightaway. So again, really fun. I learned a lot, and at the end of the day I didn't quite make 2:15 lap times, but I was doing 2:16, which is really good. It's not too bad for the amateur class, and not too bad for a stock bike and inexperienced rider at all. So just doing my best, and the R3 really held up for me. The only notes that I can really explain to you guys for the R3 specifically on this track is I was popping from 5th gear back down to 4th gear on the straightaway. So that might be due to an oil change, which I changed in the mock race to get my license. That will be in a later video. Ergonomically, I am a tall rider, about 6 feet, so the stock handlebars, which I'm still using here, are just making me just a bit scrunched up. It was pretty hard to keep riding at this pace, but the Woodcraft sliders or rear sets were great. The Clucky Pucks were awesome, as I mentioned in the first video, and the tires were super grippy. So the Bridgestone S20 Evos held up just fine. Lots of, there's no chicken strips in the rear tire. The front tire, the profile is just a little bit incorrect, I guess, for the wheel. So there's always going to be a little bit of a chicken strip on the front tire for the R3. So again, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this style of video where I commentate over a track day or a race, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. In the next episode of the track day stuff, I'm going to be doing the mock race where I get my license. So if you're thinking about racing and you're in the area at CVMA and you're going to do the new racer school, or if you're going to do a similar style racer school local to you, probably want to check this video out just to get an idea of what it actually involves and what it entails to get your racing license so you can do amateur road racing on the track. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.